Hi, this is Austin with Brush for Hire, and this is the second part of a painting tutorial on painting a Tekness Union Worker. So if you haven't seen the first episode, you should start there. For his sword, we're going to base it in Abaddon Black from Citadel. Just an easy, flat coat of this will do the job. We just need something for the silver to go down onto. While we've got the Abaddon Black out, I'm going to paint his hooves black as well. I want them to be well separated from the base. Just an easy little strip of black there at the bottom of the leg. And while we wait for the black to dry, we're going to do the loincloth here, which is going to be in white. We're using the Citadel Ceramite White just because it covers really well. Just being careful not to get any onto the belt. Now, I did put a little bit of the skin tone down on his little curly tail here, but I just decided that we'll just paint back over that in a minute. It's going to be a lot easier to do that than to avoid getting it on there while getting all the areas around it. Alright, while we've got the white out, we're going to do his eyes. Just a tiny little white speck in there. We're not going to bother with pupils or anything. I think that blank eyes make models look a little bit more monstrous. So we're also going to use an overbrushing technique here. It's kind of like dry brushing, but we leave more paint on the brush, and we're just going to let it wipe onto the raised teeth. Really quick and easy way to do this. Not going to make you just go crazy trying to paint them all individually. You get the same effect really quickly. You can do this for a lot of different things on models. You have to be really gentle and aware of how much paint you're putting on your brush. Up next, we are going to load a little bit of Minotaur Ghost Tint Brown into our airbrush, and we are going to shade the bottom side of our tabard here. So we've got some just right at the bottom, and it kind of feathers up to the top. Now we're going to switch to an HD Ivory from Reaper, and we're going to highlight some of the folds in the cloth. One thing to be aware of with ghost tints from Minotaur is that if you don't seal them properly, they will run. They will basically reactivate when you paint over them, making them bleed into other colors. In this situation, we are absolutely using that to our advantage. So I know you can't see it very well behind the shield there, but we're just putting a little bit of a highlight on the tabard loincloth thing. So next up, we've got some Vallejo Natural Steel, and we're going to be dry brushing that onto our blade. That's why we wanted to make sure to let that black dry completely. We don't want any streaking here. So we're just going to do a light dry brush, and we're going to vary up our angle in a second here. Just trying to break up those lines a little bit. Come at it from a diagonal, get the backside as well. This is definitely one of those things you want to be very patient with. If you put too much paint on, you're just going to have awful streaking. So this is the look you're going for here. It's kind of a wrought iron almost look. We're using Reaper Dark Shadow. I absolutely love this paint for this technique. We've got some open cell foam, and we're just going to stipple a little bit of it on to the panels in areas that we think will have taken damage. For those of you familiar with this model, the standard color scheme has it in silver armor instead of blue, but blue is one of the Tekness colors. So I decided to go with this sort of lighter blue color because I thought that it would show off the damage a lot better than the silver would. Silver tends to sort of consume this unless it's a very light silver. So we're just sort of making areas that look like chipped paint with rust underneath. This is definitely one of my favorite techniques that I discovered early on. It's so quick and easy to make these look like you spent hours and hours creating little chips all over the armor plates. And for most of you, you have these little sponge pieces left over from all the pluck foam that you've used to store your models. So it's a free tool that you didn't even know you had, probably. There we are. You don't want to overdo this, but it's good to have some in logical places. We're also going to put some on the blade too. Imagine that the union workers are not taking care to keep their weapons immaculate. Alright, got some there. And now we are going to switch over to some washes. These are the Citadel washes, and right now we are going to be using Agrex Earthshade. We're just creating some little drip marks from a few of these spots that we just sponged on and have them running down like they've created some rusty water that's ran over the surfaces over time. This is, again, something you don't want to overdo, but definitely put enough of it on there so that people can see it and know what it is. Just a few little streaks here and there will do the job. You don't have to do one from every single little spot that you put down. Mostly just find the biggest clumps and go for those. There we go. And it's also imperative that you pull straight down, or at least in a straight line. And if it's not in a straight line, it needs to be because it's following a curve. So just think about it logically, how water would roll down a surface. Now, we're switching over to a sepia wash, also from Citadel, and we're going to do the blade in this. You can also mix up the streaking that you did on the armor between brown and sepia to give yourself some variation. Alright, so here's what we've got so far. We're going to take a little bit of that sepia as well, and we're going to put it on the teeth, just because teeth are almost never perfectly white. So this little bit of sepia, a little watered down, is going to really help make those look a little more realistic. And with some more of the natural steel from Vallejo, we are going to do a little bit of edge highlighting here and there to create some raw edges of metal. You've got all these little chips and things, but for fresher scrapes and scratches, you want silver. It hasn't had time to rust yet. I'm going to put some in these really large chunks that we've got on the chest plate here. You can also put a few scratches in places that don't even have any weathering yet, like it's a fresh scratch in a place that didn't have a scratch before. There we are. Assume the top side of the shield is just going to be gnarled with lots and lots of damage. There we are. Fantastic. So we're looking pretty good. We've got lots of weathering and streaks and crusty rust everywhere. Up next, we're going to put a few highlights onto the blade and a little bit of weathering. So now that our wash has dried, put a little edge highlighting and have little streaks where the union worker has either defended or hacked into something and left little scrapes in all of the oxidation. Do this on the front side as well. You can see here that with a few well-placed little streaks, you can really make it look very well used, give it an interesting style. And this will bring us to the end of painting this model. All we have left to do is base. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe today to make sure you catch all of our videos in the future. And if you've got comments about the model, our video, or the game the model is for, go ahead and drop them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy wargaming.